Uh, so I'm Jay, I'm Marine Bio SVO, and I'm a sophomore so far, 19, about to turn 20. So yeah, I've been asked to be interviewed a few questions here, and I have no idea what this entails per se, so.
Okay, so I'll ask you one question.
Okay.
Got it. What are some characteristics you notice in good leaders?
Emotional intelligence, not just the straight up, you have to be smart about things. If you're a leader, you have to understand the people you're working with. You also have to be able to follow. If somebody gives you a better piece of advice than what you're thinking about, you should probably be able to listen to the better piece of advice. Obviously the standard characteristics, strength, the standard intelligence, be able to formulate a plan. And then calmness under stressful situations is the most important one. If you get riled up with everybody else, you end up killing everybody. You get that one person with the calm head, and everybody else follows.
So if you had to pick a couple different actual characteristics that fell under emotional intelligence, what would you pick?
Understanding somebody's sadness and anger would probably be the
empathy?
two ones. Empathy.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody's sad, if you understand what emotion they're feeling, you can kind of sit there with them and kind of help them back up from that. If they're angry, you can talk them down. Sad, you can build them up. Something like that. I think that's probably the most important one.
Makes sense.
So as far as that, going on people who show those characteristics and the empathy, do you have somebody that comes to mind that you would think is good leader that you look up to?
Very standard answer, but probably my father and my grandfather. Both of them which were military, but my father is a leader. He's someone who, he's an iron worker, but he's the one who tells people where to go, what to do, and that's where I picked up the emotional thing, is because one time he told me a story about a guy who came in severely depressed. He was like, yeah, there's some issues, and one of the things was everybody else was telling him to suck up, deal with it. My father was the one who sat there. Family friend now, I see him all the time, we go shooting together and all that stuff now, which is the thing, is there's a personal connection, so it's not just a sitting there going, aye, sir, stuff like that. It's the, hey. So, father, and then again, grandfather, served in Vietnam. He was one of the captains or whatever. He never likes to talk about it. It's one of those touchy subjects. Yeah. But I've just heard a few little snippets here and there, and he did all right. I've met some people who served with him, and they said he was a good character and all of that. But he was the one who was calm under stressful situations, which is where I see the other qualities come in.
Interesting. Now, if you had to try and pick a trait that you thought was important for leaders to have, that some say not talked about as much, something that you think would be important but doesn't really get brought up, what would that be?
You need to be a follower as well. Leaders can't only lead, like I previously mentioned. Somebody gives you a better idea, you gotta sit there, and also if you're a follower, you understand what a leader has to do to be able to lead people. You can sit there and be like, okay, put yourselves in their shoes type of deal. So I think that would be,
yeah, makes sense.
Going back to father and grandfather, do you think that their actions made an outstanding difference on everyone around them?
Definitely on me.
Yeah.
It instilled that the good, I need to live up to their expectations type of deal. Never forced on me. It was kind of that thing I naturally picked up. It definitely had an impact on the family friend that I had mentioned. Being able to get out of that depression thing is really hard to do. Grandfather, I've met a lot of people who've looked up to him. I don't know. I asked him at Veterans Day, actually. I asked him what medals he got, and he refused to tell me because he just doesn't want to talk about it. I was like, all right. But I know some people who've mentioned, saving lives and stuff like that. Same with my father, So
would you think being humble then is another good trait to have, like what you just described with your grandfather?
A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on being humble, and yeah, it is important. But sometimes you got to be able to show off a little bit. You got to have a sense of importance.
Pride versus
you got to have a little bit of pride, not to the point where it becomes that whole big
cocky
sin thing.
Yeah.
Don't be cocky. Cockiness is a very bad trait. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay.
30 seconds.
I don't know. Do you have any questions for us? We can go with that.
What about on campus? Do you see any examples that of traits like this on campus that you've recognized before? Maybe on the swim team or anything like that?
The swim team, yeah. Thinking of that one. few guys on the team really step up and do a lot of things
Yeah.
when they need, like get food orders, drive people around.
Yep.
One of my friends actually, she picks us up, you know, if we need a ride, she's willing to help us out a lot. I needed to pick up like medication and she was like, oh yeah, I got you, I'll bring you. And then she understands, like, as everybody has their issues in life, she was one of the ones with the emotional thing where she sat there going, all right, we can work through this, because classes suck.
Yeah.
So,
Now, when you see stuff like that, do you ever like let people know that, like, say someone does something for you, or they give you a good example of leadership like that? Do you ever let them know that, like, that's what you think about that? Is so, say someone does something for you or gives you a good example of leadership. Do you ever like congratulate them on that? Say like, hey, like that, like I think what you're doing is awesome. Like that's a good job doing that. Do you ever do anything like that?
not like that, but I make it very well known that I appreciate those qualities
Yeah.
in them. It's a very, you know, if they help me, I try to help them in similar ways.
Makes sense.
I'm very grateful for my friends. I send them like the Instagram reels where it's like me and that one homie, and then I send them those all the time. It's like that little like indirect thank you for the qualities thing. There's one from Fast and Furious that I sent my friend actually like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, we're good on time.
all right.
So, thank you.